Alright, this is my American straight needle, and I'm getting ready to start sewing with it. Let's just go over the machine a little bit. Up top you have the wax pot. I have thread lubricant in it. Thread lubricant is cleaner, easier to use, and it doesn't make as nice and tight of stitch. Thread wax makes a really tight stitch, but it also clogs up your little roller wheels. So you kind of have to pick one. You will need to tighten up your tension if you use thread lubricant. And to tighten the tension, okay, here's your tension right here. You've got two, so what you do is you tighten the inner one and then tighten the outer one to hold it in place. This is a straight needle, so you've got a straight awl that comes down and punches the hole, and then down here you've got a straight needle that goes up and grabs a thread. Okay, the straight needle looks like a tiny little crochet hook. It's got a hook on the end for grabbing the thread. See, it's got a hook to grab the thread. Okay, I'm just going to stand here and focus on it from the top so you can see what proper timing looks like. If you need to change the bobbin thread, so you've got the bobbin case here. First thing you want to do is move the needle out of the way. So down here, this is the stitch length adjuster. So I'm going to pull this out, which will release this, pull this out, and move this over like that. That moved the entire needle out of the way. Now my bobbin, I can get to my bobbin. So to take the bobbin out, push that up, and then there's a mark on the shuttle. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a mark. And over here, there's an arrow. You need to line up that mark, that groove in the metal, with the arrow. Once they're lined up, you can take the bobbin out. Alright, I'm going to put a fresh bobbin in. The machine, you can wind your own bobbins. I don't do that, so I'm not going to demonstrate it. But you can. So what I'm going to do, this needs to turn clockwise. And it needs to go up through a couple of small holes. The best way to do this is to get yourself a little metal bristle. Otherwise you're going to be trying to fish it through some small holes. Alright, so I've put the end of the bobbin thread through the bristle. Now I'm going to put it up through that nice big hole. That one's easy. But then right in here, see that small hole? It needs to go through there. If it's clean, you can probably manage to fish your thread through, but a bristle makes it easier. Pull it through. There we go. And then on the top, this little spring right here is the tension. So the thread needs to pop under that spring. So there we go. Now it's ready to stitch. This little screw right in the center of the bobbin, that tightens the tension on the bobbin. And before I stitch, I'm going to run some oil on it. And I'm also going to put a dot of oil right in there. Now if you notice in the back, there's this circle of plastic. That's absolutely all that is a little thin piece of plastic with a hole in the center. And what that does is it keeps the bobbin, sometimes the bobbin, when it gets down to the end, if you're using the pre-wound bobbins, goodness, that's dirty back in there. So if you're using the pre-wound bobbins, once they're completely gone, you end up with a little tube of cardboard. And sometimes, since it's so small, before it's quite gone, the bobbin will actually pop out of the case and get back in there and make a huge knot. I can't find one at the moment, but if you wind your own bobbins and use the metal bobbins that come with the machine, they'll look like this, only a whole lot bigger. They'll be sized for this machine. So they can't slide up in that little hole because they have ends. But your pre-wound bobbins don't have ends, and so sometimes they'll pop out of the bobbin case and go back in the back and make knots. So just cut yourself basically the end, a circle with a hole that fits up in there, and just leave it in there all the time. It'll make your life easier. Say I'm going to pop this back in. Now that it's in, I'll bring this back down. Now the next thing I want to do before I turn the wheel is put the needle back into place and choose my stitch length. Sometimes you have to, sometimes it doesn't want to pop back into place, so you have to move it up and down until, there we go. So I'm going to put it on 5.5. That's what I use for side seams. And then I need to take this bobbin thread, this end of the bobbin thread, and put it up through, bring it to the top. And then you will notice at various places on your machine there are little pots for oil. So keep those full of oil, and then every once in a while you need to reach in there and give those rollers a little bit of oil. This is for the, I'm hand turning the wheel. And so every once in a while you need a little bit of oil in there. I have a flat plate on here with a guide because I'm going to be stitching side seams. So I'm just stitching right close to an edge, and I need to be able to determine how far from that edge I'm stitching. This is another plate for a straight needle. This is the plate for stitching soles on a straight needle. So this little thing would be in place of this big flat metal plate. And as you can see, it's got a blade right here for cutting a channel when you're stitching soles. This one's been well used. You can see it's had a few needles broken on it. My advice is don't stitch soles on a straight needle. I'm going to start sewing now with a straight needle so you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, I like to hold the threads in my hand so that I don't get sucked down in when I start. Notice how I'm keeping this flat. If I start moving it around like this, then I'll go off the edge and it will break or bend my needle. There are two pedals down here on the floor. There's one that raises this and one that makes it go. So I'm stepping on the one to raise the presser foot. I'm going to put the awl down exactly where I want it. Hold onto the thread and start stitching. See, I'm going to turn it over until the awl just starts to go down. That will make the stitch completely tighten up. If I took it out before that, the stitch would be just half formed and not tight. So I turn it over until the awl starts to come down, raise the awl back up, pull it out, and now I'm going to turn it a little bit so that the thread releases, pull out some extra, and now I'm ready for the next stitch, because when you start you want the awl just ready to come down.